RICTAT, the International Association and Register of Integrative Colon Hydrotherapists and Trainers, held its third annual conference on the 29th and 30th of October 2012. Galina Imrie, RICTAT founder, talked at the conference about the system of understanding contraindications and cautions for colon hydrotherapy practitioners. At the request of the participants, we are releasing the video of the presentation for the benefit of all colon hydrotherapists. If you would like to send us any comments, or if you have any suggestions, please feel free to email us on register@rictat.org.
The margin of error in colon hydrotherapy is small, so why do we need to talk about the necessity to understand and use and practice a very strict contraindications policy in colon hydrotherapy treatment? There are good reasons for this, and I'll name just two. The number of the treatments is increasing, and that's what Alison said. Statistically, there is a possibility of a high number of injuries, because the person who will never injure someone is the person who doesn't do any treatments. If you do a treatment, that there is a chance that that might happen. Secondly, is because we're self-regulated. Self-regulation is a double-edged sword, because if one makes a mistake as a member of a medical profession, then one will be supported by fallback procedures, by unions, by colleagues, and by other bureaucratic organizations. And there is already a huge library of cases which can explain and mitigate and say why what you did was actually acceptable, why the patient is responsible himself, herself, etc. Just imagine that the person came to colon hydrotherapy treatment with, let's say, acute bout of colitis, or acute hemorrhoids, or acute diverticulitis for that matter, and the colon hydrotherapist gave the treatment, send the patient back home with no aftercare advice. The person might feel better for a few days, the person gets worse, exactly as I did, goes bad. They said, you need to have another colonic. Gets another colonic, the feel-good period gets shorter and shorter, needs more and more colonics. The person gets really desperate, goes to the GP. So we don't have a general colonic council, which would be a good idea. We have self-regulation, which is basically a man and his dog. It would be great to have regulation, but we don't. So that person comes to the GP or goes to the pub syndrome that we've just heard about, and they say, oh, you've got to sue. So the person sues. Court action, therapist will sue the therapist for the loss of time, the loss of money, for the emotional harm, and that person would win, or the insurance company would give in and pay, because there are no clear, laid-out procedures to specify how colon hydrotherapy must be used if a person comes with a bowel inflammation. It would be a great idea to have it, but we don't. I'm going to talk about the fact that probably all reputable organizations could cooperate to create a manual for all therapists, and if they don't want to, RICTAT probably could lead the way in that. So this is why we need to have the understanding of what the treatment does, how it affects the client or patient, what the physiological foundation of the treatment is, and how it can affect the existing condition, what the condition is, and how we need to act as therapists.